Hello. Let me see here. Let me make sure we are live. Okay. Let me see. Okay, looks like we are live. Hello, dog lovers. Today we are going to be discussing how to find a good breeder. Can be a complicated process and very confusing for a lot of people. So I will try to take you through it as easily as I can. So the first thing is to know what breed you want to choose. Um, and then once you have chosen a breed, then you need to find a breeder who who breeds that breed and is doing all of the necessary health testing, which requires going to ofa.org. And I'm trying to pull that up. There we go. Let me share my screen with you. So this is where I go when I am showing the when I'm trying to find a breeder who does the necessary health testing. OFA is an independent group that health tests and keeps a log of health testing for different breeds of dog. So one of the things that you'll go to is you'll do search OFA health tested dogs up here in the right corner. And you want to go to the advanced search. From the advanced search, you're going to do a few things. You want CHIC, CHIC, the CHIC program. That means that they have done all of the recommended health tests from that breed. CHIC testing is the minimum that I recommend that you hold your breeders accountable for. So you want to make sure that you check CHIC. Then you want to go down and you want to find the breed that you're looking for. Let's just do Beagle because I have a Beagle and I love him very much. So we'll search for Beagle. And we want age now to be 0 to 5 years. And what this does is this will tell you people and breeders who are currently breeding. They have, within the last 5 years, produced a dog that they intend to breed. Most people will not do CHIC testing or OFA testing at all unless they're intending to breed or they are trying to prove that a relative of that dog is worthy of breeding. Doesn't matter for this purpose whether it's male or female. Doesn't matter any of this, what you choose. And we want to begin the search. Now, this is all of the dogs that are 5 years or under currently who have been CHIC health tested and are a purebred beagle. And what we're looking for here is we are looking for kennel names. You'll notice that all of these names, they start with something and then it's the name of the dog. So this is Bevos, Never My Love. So Bevos is the name of the kennel. We want a kennel that has produced at least 2 in the last 5 years. So for example, Bevos C2R, Fleur de Lis. These are all kennel names that are currently producing dogs that are Schick health tested and will therefore be more likely to be healthy long term and to produce long term healthy dogs. So, once you have found a kennel name that has produced several dogs, now Fleur de Lis has produced very many dogs. So they might be a puppy mill, they might not. They might just be a breeder who produces several. Um, so then we want to go and look at a few. So Foxfire, my beagle, his dad was a Foxfire beagle. So let's take a look at one of these random Foxfire dogs. So Foxfire's Forget Me Not. Okay. That will take you to this page, which will tell you all of the testing that this dog has done, when they were tested, when it was reported, how old the dog was when they were tested, what the conclusion of the test was. So, for example, Muslot-Luke syndrome, this dog is clear or normal for that genetic disease. This dog had its eyes looked at. Its eyes were normal. This dog had its hips looked at. The hips are looked at on x-ray, and its hips were good. The hips range from good, fair, and bad. I think there's a fourth level in there. I don't remember exactly, but good is good. We want good hips, and basic cardiac was cardiac, so that's the heart, normal, and they earned their Schick testing. So they did all of the recommended testing for beagles. Now that I've checked that Foxfire is doing that, now I'm going to Google the name. So if I open Google and I look up Foxfire Beagle, this will take me then to their website, and I can look at their website. I can find out where they are located. I can see they like to do health testing. They socialize their puppies. They breed thoughtfully with sound, structure, balance, and movement. And then if you go to our beagles, this is the males and the females and the retired beagles that they have bred in the past. So if I go to males, it shows Catcher. That is my beagle's dad. He has his Schick testing. And you can view him. You can also view the other dogs. Now, Knox and Dexter don't have their Schick testing yet, but that might be because they're too young. Most dogs cannot achieve Schick testing until they're at least 2 years old. So, but I can look at Orbit, and it has his pedigree, and that's a link to his pedigree. I can look at his OFA clearances and see his OFA Schick status. So if I click that link, it takes us to here, and we can see Foxfire's out of this world, and he has done all sorts of testing. He has even repeated his cardiac at different ages to make sure that his cardiac results were good. And he has done some of these are blood tests. Some of these are DNA tests. Some of these are tests that they look at from through x-rays or ultrasound. But these are the kinds of things that we want to see from our breeders if we want good, healthy dogs. And then if we close that and go back to here, make sure that I'm still sharing. This also has Embark. So Embark is a DNA testing website that will test for genetic diseases. So OFA tests for diseases that are not necessarily genetic, but well, they're not necessarily visible in the genes. They are visible physically on the dog. And Embark is tests for the genes. So Embark, if we can get there we go. Load, load, load. So he's 100% Beagle. His health, we can see what diseases he's at risk for, his genetic diversity, and all of his clear test results that he is clear from. And we want this level of clarity and visibility from our breeders. We want to be able to access this kind of information very easily, preferably before we contact the breeder. But some of the breeders, they don't want this necessarily public because it is difficult to upkeep a website. It is difficult to upkeep social media and things like that. So you might have to contact the breeder and ask, hey, can I get a link to to your dog's Embark testing? Can I get a link to your dog's OFA results? Have you done OFA testing? And don't just take yes, I've done OFA testing. Yes, I've done health testing as an answer. You want to see the results because people lie. People lie a lot, and it is hard to admit, but you have to push for, can I see the health testing results from your dogs? Please send those to me before I commit to getting a puppy from you. You want to be able to see this kind of thing. So back to OFA. So Foxfire is not the only breeder of beagles who are doing SCHIC health testing. And you saw just how many, it can be a little bit overwhelming looking at this huge list. But remember, you want somebody who's got at least 2 dogs with the same kennel name, like Journey's here. Hair raiser, there's no other hair raisers. So I don't know if they breed once in a blue moon or if they are not really breeding yet or they aren't really breeding anymore. But I would not bother looking up hair raiser necessarily. Journeys I might look at. Causery I might look at. Foxfire, they've had several. And if they have too many, make sure it's not a puppy mill by looking and making sure they are SCHIC health testing all of the dogs in their kennel and all of the dogs they have on their website. You also want to make sure that they are not breeding a bunch of different breeds. Most breeders will breed 1, maybe 2 breeds, and that is already so much commitment and so much time from them that it takes to raise those puppies thoughtfully that you do not want to they you do not want to see a breeder trying to give that much effort to more than 2 breeds because that is going to be way too much work, way too much effort, and some of those puppies are not going to turn out as thoughtfully bred as the others. And yes, so you can keep going. So say Foxfire, they're in Canada and you want somebody who's breeding dogs in the US. So then you might go to the next page and see, okay, on taps. Again, Google them, find out if they have a website, find out if they have social media, stalk their social media for a little bit, watch the videos and see the pictures of the dogs they produce. Make sure that they're not producing multiple breeds. They're not trying to breed multiple breeds all at once. Make sure that they are actually health testing all of the dogs that they are breeding and not just health testing 1 or 2 here and there and then assuming that the rest are okay. Yeah, let's actually do that. Let's take a look at on tap here. On taps pick me up. So reported in 2022, age in months, and everything's looking normal, good, normal, clear. Now, sometimes dogs will be a carrier of something like the factor 7 deficiency. They might be a carrier of that. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good to be bred. It just means that they need to be bred very thoughtfully to not create dogs with that deficiency. Um, so uh, now that we've seen that, yes, they are actually doing all of the these tests, and there's several tests, and they've repeated the eyes like they are supposed to every several months, then we're going to go and Google them. So that was on taps beagle. Okay, so there's the puppy application. So I'm not seeing a I'm not seeing a I'm not seeing a website for this breeder. However, they do have a puppy application, so with their phone number and their email. So you might be able to then contact the breeder here and be able to then ask them what their breeding plans are, ask them for more information about their process, how they choose their dogs' personalities, because personality is really just as important as health. You want a dog with a personality that matches your lifestyle, and you want to be very honest about what that includes, what your lifestyle includes. How much energy do you have in a day? How much time do you have in a day? Do you want a dog that is really out there and ready to go on adventures? Or do you want a dog that's really cuddly? Or do you want a dog that's both? Do you want a dog that is happy to be a couch potato and snuggle with you at the end of the day with just a walk or two throughout the day? Keep in mind your realistic lifestyle and choose a dog that fits your realistic lifestyle. All right. So that is how we choose a good breeder. That's how we find a good breeder. Now let's look at a dog breed that has fewer good breeders than beagles. So if we switch by going up here and we look for, um, let's say, Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, and we begin that search. So Cavalier King Charles Spaniels notoriously have issues with epilepsy and issues with breathing and issues with their heart. So we want to look for somebody who has SCHIC testing and has the same name. So Alder Creek seems to have a few. So let's pick one at random. Frozen Assets. Why not? Okay, now you can see there are a lot fewer health tests required for Cavalier King Charles Spaniels than there are for Beagles. Patella, that's the knees, basic cardiac, eyes, and hips. And that's it. And you saw how many tests were required for a Beagle. It was a significant number, more than maybe double the number of tests in order to get SCHIC. So this is why SCHIC health testing is really the bare minimum that you want to be looking for. So let's go back and see a different breeder. Oop. I closed the tab instead of hitting the back button. let's go back here. Schick Cavalier. Zero to 5 years. Begin search. Okay. So let's take a look at Amitola. Okay, so they've done a couple more, but that's because they've done the eyes twice. Here, let me make sure I'm sharing the right page. So they've done the eyes twice, so it looks like more, but it's not actually necessarily that much more than the previous dog had. So going back, let's scroll through a few pages. Okay, Bouchard. Again, eyes, cardiac, patella, hips, and eyes and advanced cardiac. So yeah, so Schick health testing, bare minimum, because it different breeds require different amounts of health testing. Different amounts of health testing depending on what they what the is recommended for the breed, and so this is good. This is good health testing for somebody to be doing, but it's also the bare minimum because there's no DNA testing here. There's no genetic testing. There's no checking of thyroid. There's no checking of kidneys, which might not be things that you need to check on a Cavalier, but it's still good information to have. So let's try Googling Bouchard Cavaliers and see if we can find a website for them. Bouchard Cavalier. Okay. So they do have a website. That's great. Health information. All prospective breeding dogs have the following testing done: hearts, eyes, pen, hip, patellas. Dogs included in the breeding program have eyes and hearts tested regularly. DNA genetic test including the following. Okay, that's great. So then let's look at their females that they are currently testing or currently breeding. Okay, not much information here. Okay, Bill is Schick certified and they give his number. That's great. That means we can go to Schick and we can look at his health testing. And they have their numbers listed. Instead of links, they have their numbers listed. That's still easily searchable. Let me see, look back at the females. Okay, I do not see Schick numbers for the females, and I also don't see their kennel names. So Tia is the name of this female, and you saw back on the OFA page, the names that there is no Tia here. It's Bill Pixie Bee Balm, and Bill Blossom Polly and Bill Abazalia. So these are probably all puppies from Bill. They're male. Copperbet Cosmos, Earl Jean Juniper. So I don't see one named Tia. That's because these are their registered names. And the registered names do not are not necessarily the names that they are called at home. So Tia is the name she's called at home, but I can't look up her health testing here because I do not have her registered name. So that is not necessarily uh, not necessarily a deal breaker, but it does mean that I would want to be contacting this breeder and asking them, okay, if Tia is your current female that you're currently using, then I want to see her OFA tests as well. I want to see her embark tests as well, her DNA tests. We can look at the updates. So these are updates from her puppy owners. So yes, so you can see how these are, they appear to be reputable breeders, but I still want more information than what they are showing on their website. All right. So let's see another popular breed. Let's see Labradors. Labrador Retriever. Okay. Now you can see there are a lot of Labrador Retrievers. Page 1 of 40, 786 matches within the last 5 years. So there's a lot to go through, but this is a great way to start searching for dogs while having a really high level of standard for what you expect from your breeder. And a lot of these breeders who do this kind of testing, they talk to each other. So even if you find one who's on the other side of the country from you, who is a breeder of a breed that you want, even if they're on the other side of the country from you, they probably travel around the country doing dog shows and performances with their dogs, doing dog sports with their dogs. And so you can very easily reach out to some of these health tested breeders, even if they're too far for what you want to go get your puppy. If you find a good health tested breeder, you can reach out to them and go, hey, do you know anybody who is in my state? Do you know anybody who does more health testing but has a different personality in their dogs? You know, if the breeder you find has dogs that are too excitable and too energetic for your lifestyle, and you want a little bit more of a couch potato, or you want a dog that is a little bit more mellow and gentle, you can ask these health tested breeders for recommendations, and most of them will be kind and will give you recommendations to other breeders who also do health testing, who maybe don't have a website, or they don't know how to put up a website, or they don't have time to be on social media. So if you can find 1 to 3 breeders who meet this high level of standard, you can then find and access breeders who are still who are able to do the same thing and have the same quality of standard, but are closer to you or have closer dogs to what you wanted. Like I said, my beagle, I was following the Foxfire line of beagles for several years, and my beagle Riker came from a female from another breeder who was bred to Foxfire's male. And Foxfire's, the breeder from Foxfire, Samantha, she told me, hey, I think that this female will produce the puppy you want. And she did. And so I didn't even know of Cavell Beagles, who are the breeder who gave me Riker. And I didn't know they existed yet. And then I got into contact with them through Foxfire, who I'd been following for several years. And I ended up with the dog of my dreams, the beagle I always wanted. So breeders are out there. good breeders who are ethical and do health testing and personality testing and DNA testing and want to better the breed and create really, really good dogs for you to have in your home. You just have to be careful and do the work to find the right breeder for you. And OFA database is so searchable, and it is such uh, a simple, condensed way to look for breeders that are doing at least the minimum level of health testing and producing really sound dogs. Anyway, please feel free to leave some questions in the chat if you have any about finding a good breeder. And it was wonderful speaking with you today, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy your weekend, and goodbye, dog lovers. Have a great day.